especially the last 6 years. None of anything that I've written and anything I've included is ever intended to hurt my family. But it does give a full picture of the situation as we were growing up. And also squashes this idea that somehow my wife was the one that destroyed the relationship between these two brothers.
I think so many people around the world watched you and your brother grow up and feel like you two were inseparable. And yet in reading the book, you have lived separate lives from the time your mom died.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you were in the same school, in high school,
Sibling rivalry.
your brother told you, pretend we don't know each other.
Yeah, and at the time it hurt. I couldn't make sense of it. I was like, what do you mean? We're now at the same school. Like, I haven't seen you for ages. Now we get to hang out together? He's like, no. When we're at school, we don't know each other. And I took that personally. But yes, you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. Like, we had a very similar traumatic experience. And then we dealt with it two very different ways.
William tried to talk to you occasionally about your mom, but as a child, you couldn't respond.
For me, it was never a case of, I don't want...
Why Prince Harry's relationship with William was doomed long before Meghan Markle. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal family stories. The royal rift, everyone thought started with Meghan. For years, many people believed Meghan Markle was the reason Prince Harry and Prince William drifted apart. Headlines exploded. Social media picked sides. Royal watchers dissected every facial expression like it was a scene from a detective movie. But what if the cracks in their relationship were already there long before Meghan entered the royal spotlight? According to royal insiders and authors who've spent years studying the monarchy, the tension between William and Harry didn't suddenly appear overnight. In fact, some say the relationship was doomed from childhood. And honestly, when you look closely at their lives, it's not hard to see why. Imagine growing up inside the most famous family on earth. Every awkward phase, every argument, every emotional moment captured by cameras. Now add royal expectations, public pressure, and the painful loss of their mother, Princess Diana. That's not exactly a recipe for a normal sibling relationship. So what really happened between the two brothers, once known as inseparable? And why do some experts believe their fallout was years in the making? The answers are more emotional than many people expected. Two brothers, two completely different futures. At first glance, William and Harry looked like the perfect royal duo. One was the future king. The other was the fun-loving younger brother who always seemed ready with a joke. Together, they appeared unstoppable. But beneath the smiles was a reality that shaped their entire relationship from childhood. William was born with a clear destiny. One day he would become king. Harry, meanwhile, was often described as the spare, a royal term that may sound harmless but carried enormous emotional weight. Think about that for a second. From birth, one child knows his life has a defined purpose. The other grows up wondering where exactly he fits in. That difference alone can create tension in any family. Now imagine it happening inside Buckingham Palace. Royal authors have pointed out that William naturally received more attention, more preparation, and more responsibility. Harry often seemed caught between wanting freedom and wanting recognition. And while they clearly loved each other, sibling rivalry may have quietly grown over the years. Many younger siblings can relate to this feeling. Have you ever felt compared to an older brother or sister, like they were the responsible one, while you were expected to play a different role? Now multiply that pressure by 1 billion cameras. Suddenly, the royal fairy tale starts looking a lot more complicated. But the real emotional turning point may have come after a tragedy that changed both brothers forever. The loss of Princess Diana changed everything. In 1997, the world watched in shock after Princess Diana died in a car crash in Paris. William was 15. Harry was only 12. It's impossible to overstate how deeply that moment affected them. People often remember the heartbreaking image of the two boys walking behind Diana's coffin during her funeral procession. Millions watched it live. Decades later, people still talk about it. But what many forget is that grief affects everyone differently. William reportedly became more reserved and protective. Harry, meanwhile, has openly spoken about struggling emotionally for years afterward. And here's where things become even more complicated. Instead of healing together, some experts believe the brothers slowly developed very different ways of coping with pain. William leaned heavily into duty and structure. Harry pushed against royal expectations and searched for freedom. One brother adapted to the institution. The other questioned it. That difference may have quietly widened the gap between them long before adulthood arrived. And honestly, it's something many families experience after loss. Sometimes tragedy brings siblings closer. Other times, it sends them down completely different emotional paths. Royal life simply made those differences impossible to hide. But things became even more noticeable once the brothers entered adulthood. William became the future king. Harry became the rebel. As they grew older, their public images went in opposite directions. William became calm, polished, and deeply connected to royal duty. He focused on university, his future role, and eventually building a family with Kate Middleton. Harry became known as the unpredictable prince. Whether it was wild party headlines, controversial costumes, or public scandals, Harry often appeared frustrated with royal life. Yet at the same time, he remained one of the most popular royals because people found him relatable and human. It created an interesting dynamic. William represented stability. Harry represented emotion. And while opposites can strengthen relationships, they can also create misunderstandings. Royal commentators say William sometimes struggled to understand Harry's resentment toward the institution. Meanwhile, Harry reportedly felt William became too absorbed in royal tradition. Can you imagine trying to maintain a close sibling bond while your entire world keeps pulling you in opposite directions? One brother preparing for the throne, the other trying to figure out who he was outside the palace walls. That emotional distance may have already existed years before Meghan Markle arrived. But then came a relationship that changed everything, or maybe exposed what was already broken. Meghan may not have created the divide. She may have simply revealed how fragile the relationship had already become. And honestly, that makes the story even more emotional. Because behind the royal titles are two brothers who once lost their mother together, grew up under impossible pressure, and ultimately struggled to stay connected as adults. What do you think? Was the royal rift inevitable from childhood? Or could things have turned out differently? Do you think William and Harry will ever fully reconcile? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into royal family drama, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories, hidden details, and royal updates you won't want to miss.